Guys, we're going to run through some of these problems on your most recent worksheet, okay? So if we're asking for the slope of a line, okay, in this form, this is the standard form. Standard form, the standard form is ax plus by equals c. All right, so now let's look at this particular example, okay? We have 3x plus 2y equals 6. We want to find the slope. That means best if we put it in the slope-intercept form, which is to solve for y. So if I leave y over on this side where it is and scoot 3x over, of course it's switching the side, so I need to switch its sign as well, plus 6. Now when I divide both sides by 2, I will get y is equal to negative 3 over 2x plus 3. So that identifies my slope there as negative 3/2. Okay? Now it's good that many of you remembered the negative a over b from this form. So we'll run through that and remind you. Okay? So that in this form here, by, bring the ax over as its opposite. Now divide everybody by b, and we get y is equal to the opposite of a over b plus c over b. This is an x here. So that tells us then, in that form, the slope is going to equal the opposite of the a value over b value, where a is the number in front of x, the coefficient of x, and b is the number in front of y, including the sign, the coefficient. Okay, so if we went back to this, we'd say, oh yeah, here, use that formula. The slope is the opposite of a. A is 3, so I want its opposite, and b is 2, and I got the slope already. Now, of course, we should know that if we're asking for parallel lines, they have the same slope. So using this little shortcut here, I could just say the slope is equal to the opposite of 8, which is negative 8, over the b value, which is negative 3. So the slope there is just 8/3, which is also the slope of the parallel. All right? When we're talking about perpendiculars, we're talking about slopes that are opposite reciprocal. So here, of course, in number 6, we see that the slope is equal to negative 1/2, so then the slope of the perpendicular would have the slope of the reciprocal of 1/2, which is 2 over 1, and its opposite sign, which would make it positive, so the slope is 2. Okay? So, so that's what we have with a couple of those. The equation through a point which is parallel to the x-axis, so if it's going through 6, negative 2, let's suppose this is 6, negative 2 down here. If it's parallel to the x-axis, then it's running like this, which means it's simply y equals the y value, which in this case is negative 2. Okay? So hopefully those couple on this don't require a whole lot of work. Okay? We're going down here. We're asked to find the x and y intercepts. Again, that's part of what we did when we were graphing. So we said, okay, let x equal 0 on one and let y equal 0 on the other. So if we let x equal 0, this just collapses to negative 4y equals 12, which says y equals negative 3. Okay, so again, negative 3 there. And of course, when y is equal to 0, we get 3x equals 12, which says x equals 4. So there you got your intercepts there, okay? Find the equation of the line through points, okay? You had all that work previously done for you, okay? Let's come down and maybe, let's do one like this, number 19. Find the equation of the line that's parallel to this through this point. So if it's parallel, it has the same slope. Recalling what we did with that first problem. The slope is the opposite of A over B, which is going to be the opposite of 2 over negative 3, which is going to be, okay, of course, just 2/3. So 2/3 is my slope for this line as well as the line parallel to it. Now, remember the form which we showed you before. We have the slope, and now we define the slope again with this point, 8, 5, and this generalized point, x comma y, all right? So now, computing the slope, we say it's y minus 5 over x minus 8, and we set that equal to the slope of 2/3. We cross multiply, which of course means the denominator of one side multiplies the numerator of the other side and vice versa. So when I do that, I got to distribute, so I get 3 times y minus 5 is equal to 2 times x minus 8. And I distribute 3y minus 15 equals 2x plus 16, I'm sorry, minus 16, all right, okay, minus 16. So then I'm going to put it in the standard form, which puts x and y on one side, so bring that over as negative 2x. 3y is going to stay over there. I'm going to add 15 to both sides to get rid of the negative 15, which will bring this other side up to negative 1 now. So that's the equation of the line that meets the condition there, okay? Let's see, we'll do one more. Okay, so let's do this number 22, okay? Find the equation of the line through 4, negative 2, which is perpendicular to this line. Now, of course, if it's perpendicular, we need to know its slope, okay? Right, so we could identify the slope here, again, by the opposite of A over B, which is going to be the opposite of the 3 over negative 1. Of course, there's a 1 understood there. So the slope is equal to positive 3. Okay? All right? Now, we want perpendicular. So the slope perpendicular is the opposite reciprocal. So 3 is, the reciprocal of 3, of course, is 1/3. And we want the opposite sign now because we were careful here, seeing that this was, okay, a negative over a negative going to positive. The opposite sign would be negative, okay? Now, typically, if the fraction's negative, you might just want to just call the numerator negative, okay? We certainly don't want both the numerator and denominator negative, because then the overall fraction would be positive, okay? Now, what we got to do from here is we've got to go through this point, 4, negative 2, with this slope. And that's very much what we did in this previous problem here. You got a point and a general point, okay? And you got a slope. So let's wrap that one up. So we've got the 4, negative 2 and the xy point along, so we compute our slope, y minus a negative 2, which of course is going to change to y plus 2, over x minus 4 is equal to my slope of negative 1/3. Again, I'm going to cross multiply 3 times. I'm going to change this minus and minus to plus, so it's y plus 2 is equal to, here I go with the negative 1 times x minus 4 here, okay? So that's 3y plus 6 is equal to negative 1x plus 4. Standard form will bring the x over. Since it's negative on one side, it becomes positive on the other side. 3y was there. And now I'm going to subtract 6 off of here and subtract it off of here, giving me negative 2. So that's the equation of the line that meets that condition. Okay? So there you have it. You've got a couple of them done for you, and they're all going to have to be done for tomorrow. All right, so make sure you're on top of this, okay? We will give you some time at the end of the period to finish them up, but you can't come in with none of them done, because then you'll never get it done in time, okay? All right, there you go.